Hi, I'm Julie Thorne-Ingalls, and I'm the founder and CEO of TribeMint. And we are a vision board platform for the workplace that empowers companies to build cultures of engagement, productivity, and profitability. I started the company because I have spent the better part of my 25-year career in entertainment. I've been part of strategic, visionary teams that came together to execute on these visions, and then successfully we've been able to achieve things that otherwise we wouldn't have been able to do on our own. As a result of my passion for vision and goal setting, I created my first company called Betty Vision a year ago, which is a female empowerment platform that allows women to visualize their dreams and make them a reality. And through our user base of mainly millennial women, we did focus groups to see how they would want to be further supported in their goals. And what we learned, the number one goal that they had was career goals. So we started to ask them questions about the kind of support they were getting in their current workplace. And what we found out was that they were getting very little support. This led to further research and curiosity. And what we learned is that millennials are only staying at companies for, on average, 2 years. And then every time an employer has to replace their employee, as we just eloquently heard, it costs them at least 3x the salary of that employee. And then the top 3 reasons why millennials are saying they're leaving the workforce or their current employers are they're not connected to their boss or their manager. The second reason is they're not getting career path and advising like they'd like to. And then the last piece, which is really relevant to what we're creating, is this idea that they want to be connected to the mission of the company and know where their work and the tasks that they're doing in a day are helping that company achieve their mission. So this led to an even more interesting problem in market drain, which is that on average, $550 billion is wasted every single year by companies due to lack of employee engagement, productivity, and retention. And currently, there's no easy solution for companies to consistently communicate and align their employees with their goals. Enter TribeMint, which we feel is the solution. This easily allows our vision board technology to co-create shared vision between the companies and their employers, have goal alignment from day one of those employees, and create strong culture through our suite of tools. And how does this look? Meet Elizabeth and Christine. Elizabeth is a new employee at the company. She's introduced to the culture and the values of the company through the company's vision board, through an onboarding workshop. She creates her own vision board of her goals and what she'd like to achieve at that company with her career and how she can support the company's overall vision. She meets with Christine, who is her manager. Now they're in a fluid dialogue about her career and what she'd like to accomplish. Elizabeth is then connected to the other employees at the company who have similar career goals. Every time somebody at the company achieves a goal, they're able to celebrate each other and what they're achieving for the company's overall goals. Marketplace validation. How do we know this works? World-class companies, many of which are in actually this neighborhood, from Google to Zappos, which is in Vegas, of course, Tom's, Apple, they have strong vision, strong culture, and they're able to attract and retain world-class talent. The landscape at the moment on the performance management side, we have big players like Oracle's Taleo and IBM's Connexa. And then when it comes to everyday communication tools that you really utilize, social media, there's Jive and Yammer. And TribeMint really sits in the middle of those that bridge the gap between workday tasks and conversations and that year-end performance review so that there's a real-time dialogue between employees and their employer that are happening throughout the year so there's no surprises at the year-end. Currently, we had said that there's a market gap of $550 billion that's being wasted annually. Currently, companies are spending $128 billion solving workplace issues, and we think the addressable market is $1.8 billion. Because we're a new company, we're just at the very beginning of our sales cycle. We're starting to talk to Gen Y-focused companies and those that are culturally driven. Some of the exciting conversations that we're having for pilot programs in 2013 are with Turnstone, Tom's, JustFab, and Hulu. And then we have a SaaS business model, which has implementation fees, reoccurring monthly revenue for each employee at the companies, and then licensing fees that are dependent on the size of the company and then also the technology implementation. And why are we the team to do this? Well, Lindsay Heiser and I, she's the CEO of the company, have worked together for the past 6 years. Prior to starting the company, I ran a consumer engagement agency in Los Angeles. In a down economy, Lindsay and I built over $50 million worth of business by creating a great culture that people wanted to come and work at. We turned the company, tripling the size of the agency, and the billings, and offering our CEO the most profitable year of business in a down economy that she had ever had since opening 25 years prior. James Richardson is our acting CTO. We have Peter Mansfield on our team, who sold a company to Microsoft in about 2000. And then we have advisors who are best in class from mergers and acquisitions, Brian McCarthy, to SaaS model, to Steve Turner, who sold his company for $230 million, called Capital IQ. So we're really excited and looking forward to questions.
So Julie, how much are you looking to raise, and where is that going to take you? Because you've got 200K now, right?
Absolutely. So we raised our initial 200 for the first company where we're leveraging the technology from our consumer-facing platform. We're looking for between 750 and $1 million, and that will allow us to further develop the technology and get us to cash flow, or at least with the product, and cash flow positive in year 2.
I just have that $550
Sure.
billion loss. Can you just give a little more context and detail about what's embedded in that number?
Sure. So that's from the US Gallup poll that they did, and they surveyed companies to find out where employee engagement starts to drain loss. So any from sick days to not being productive during the workday, et cetera. And so all of that money is not currently being spent on productivity in the workplace.
How much connection have you found between the managers and the companies and their desire to inspire their younger employees?
That's a great question. Well, it was interesting because we've talked to industry leaders all the way from Celia Burke at Rubicam Group in New York to the head of talent and culture from Beats by Dre, Machinima, et cetera. And one of the biggest issues that they face is that real-time communication with their employees about what they'd like to accomplish career-wise. And so there's so much trepidation and anxiety about the year-end review that a lot of times managers don't give that feedback in real time about what the employee would like to accomplish. And then furthermore, again, forgive me to any millennials in the room, but a lot of times people who are Gen X and above can display an eye roll with like, oh my God, a millennial, they're knocking at my door again, they're asking more questions about what they want. And the reality is that that work-life balance or sitting at your desk from 9 to 5 every day is not how people work anymore. And so there needs to be tools that really inspire goals over tasks. And millennials don't have a reason to stay at companies with 401ks, et cetera, anymore. And so they really want to be inspired about what the mission of the company is and co-create with them. Yeah.
Great.
Anyone else? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you, I appreciate it.